Yo, 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 yo. Yeah, it's late. And I had a stream earlier, but I figured I was just gonna poke around on this stuff, and if anyone was curious, maybe this would be interesting. So basically, where I left off earlier was I was setting up some WebRTC stuff, basically just trying to negotiate the peer connection and then also kind of doing some setup of the socket server stuff. And actually, I think the socket server stuff is working. I just kind of set up a quick test, and it seems like it's working pretty well. Hold on, let me just throw something up over here real quick. But yeah, I think so far so good. It seems like it's it seems like it's seems like it's working. The Sorry, just trying to get the stream thing up. There we go. So yeah, so the WebSocket server is working. I'll switch over to the code, I guess. That's just a URL that I was copying and pasting. But basically, we have this setup socket. Actually, I was foolishly importing. Oh, we can clean this up too. That'll be nicer. Just have that one import line. So we have setup peer connection, then we have setup socket, and then we have the URL, which is just pointing at a local Nest, I guess, socket server, which is also just part of the regular API server. And then I just set up this little thing. So essentially, like when it connects, it just sends a little hello world message to the socket server. And temporarily, I have it set up to where the socket is like initialized as soon as this hook mounts or this provider mounts. It's not going to be the case with when this app is like real deal. Just because there's no reason for everyone just to be connected to the socket server if you're not actually participating in a room. But just wanted to test it out. So essentially, I have that, and then pull up the events gateway over here. I have the events gateway, and it's a little bit funky. You got to pass it in this like specific format where essentially you have the event, and then like the event, I guess, like type, and then over here in the gateway, you can subscribe for different events. So I don't know why all the examples have these things as plurals. It's probably just gonna be like a message or an event, unless like the assumption is that you're like overloading your data with more stuff and you just like everything's an events thing. I don't know. But basically what I did was I have it to where anytime it gets this messages thing, it'll just reply back and say like, hello back. So if I go over here to the, not to YouTube, but to this thing here, you can see actually right up here at the top is where it negotiated it made the connection, it sent a hello world, and then it got the response back from, oh, here, let me pop that in here for you. So it sent the hello world message and then got the response back from the server. So that seems like that's up and running. I guess really the next things that I need to do is, I guess I could maybe hack in a quick like peer connection test. Maybe try to pull this up on like in another browser or something and just see if I am able to get the audio streaming from like one client to another and vice versa. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet. Or I don't know if it's worth like the exploration versus actually just trying to like wire it up a little bit more real. So the thing I was talking about earlier was when I first set up the schema, essentially I have, this is like a room, and so I can go to rooms here, and this is not the final design. I'm just like messing around. Um, this would all be like considered like wireframes at this point, but essentially, we can actually, oh, don't mind the where's the button? We got a magic button over there. We can make any kind of room we want, I guess. But yeah. So that's how we can make our rooms. My thinking is that I actually want to have like, and actually I was trying to figure this out earlier, but it's, I was kind of like digging around on Twitter and trying to see how like they handle spaces and stuff. Actually, if anyone's like a spaces user, uh, I'd love for you to wisen me on how it goes, but it doesn't, other than like obviously scheduling something. And actually here, maybe I'll just like try to create one. Yeah, I mean, it looks like you can really only like start one immediately or schedule one in the future. My thinking is that these rooms are actually going to be like long lived if the person who creates them wants them to be. And then that way, it's like the name, the description of like what you're going to be talking about, all that kind of stuff. Um, if there's any sort of like categories or whatever that it's associated with or that it lives in, like they can all like bubble up there. So it's almost like maybe like the same as like having like a podcast, and then my thought is like what I'm thinking is that these rooms will essentially have sessions, which would be similar to like episodes, I guess. So you have like this room, um, maybe it has a defined host, maybe it also has maybe multiple hosts. Like it seems like the way that Twitter kind of breaks it up is like you have a single host, and then you can have co-host, and then on that same session you can have speakers, and I think they refer to them as guests as well. Um, Let me see. I was like grabbing a bunch of like screenshots just kind of so I could reference some of this stuff. Listeners. Yeah, all co-host speakers and listeners, and then I think there's also like even like an other or something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I have right here is basically again just kind of like scratch wireframe stuff. But I'm thinking that you can have these rooms and then you can subscribe and then you can join a room if there's an active session, and obviously if you're the host, you can initiate a session. Maybe there's also like the ability, like if you're just like part of this room, like a regular, like it's like more than just like a single host that has the ability. It's like you can kind of just like create one. I don't know. Play around with it. But actually, you can also see earlier I was talking about how I ended up doing some like vibe coding. uh, was it last night? I guess. Yeah, last night. Actually, I don't even know. Was it? Um, and so I wanted to have this kind of. I started talking to Cursor and wanted to create this like WebGL shader thing. The concept is that it's supposed to kind of mimic kind of skyish tones, with the idea like Aurora Borealis or something like that. And so it did end up spinning up a thing where I was able to kind of, I said like I wanted different gradients and I wanted them to be nonlinear and I wanted them to kind of like. Actually, I didn't even do that. I didn't even like recommend the cycling through. It just kind of did that. But it does kind of create some cool tones. It doesn't seem like it's like too overly like CPU hog. It's like running around like, bouncing between like 2 and 3%, maybe up to 4 occasionally. I'll probably put some controls on there to be able to like pause it at a certain point if depending on how the peer connections and socket stuff, and also it's like if you just like don't want this thing cycling through, eating up precious cycles, just like turn it off or something. But I don't know, I think it turned out pretty cool. And then and so it basically has, I forget how many. Here we can hop over into the code view real quick just to kind of give it a peek. So it's the sky gradient. So yeah, I mean, it just popped out all this stuff. I could have tried to write all this, but it would have taken me way longer. So basically, it kind of does a little pre-dawn, a little dawn, a little early morning, mid morning, noon, early afternoon, late afternoon. Has some variations throughout the day, which is cool. It actually commented all the stuff that it was adding in, and I mean, it's actually it looks pretty clean, all things considered. I did kind of like come in here and like tweak a few things, but yeah, for what it is, and just like being able to add like a little, a little something to the site. I thought it was pretty cool. I did try to get it to generate like a grain effect over the just to kind of like add like a little noise and stuff. That no, didn't really turn out so great. There actually is a little bit of noise over the top of this, but not in the style that I wanted it to be. And when it started getting close to that style, it just started turning into like TV static over top of this like composition. So I don't know. It just I wasn't feeling it. But we'll see. It feels like a good novelty for me right now. It kind of gets me like stoked on the project. So um I'm gonna go with it for now. But so yeah, let's get this WebRTC stuff going. But yeah, let's check out the code. So if I go over here to this Sky Lounge room provider, like I said, I have the socket thing set up. I'm just gonna remove this now because we know that that's working. The one thing I haven't actually kind of like verified is this whole like peer connection thing. And it's partially because I don't really have this done yet, this join room method. My thinking is that basically a lot of stuff kind of gets kicked off when you join a room, and actually even going back over here, I kind of just roughed in these components right here just to kind of get some core functionality. Like this basically is mimicking like what would happen if you joined a room. Um, this is going to be hidden under some sort of settings, but basically allows you to change your audio input. The waveform is being generated, and so all the web audio stuff that needs to be captured and then made available so that you can do stuff like this was set up. And so this is not like this little lockup is not going to be part of the app. It was just more of a like, let me just lay out the pieces and make sure that they all work together. And essentially all of that is over here in this media devices provider. So essentially like snagging the audio context, specifying the audio device ID, getting the list of devices, which is like the audio input options, getting the media stream, and then like the media stream audio source node. So this media stream audio source node is like what's used for like the waveform rendering stuff. But that's just all sitting on a page. Really what's going to end up happening is this media stream and all this other stuff isn't really going to be like requested or set up until you've actually joined a room. So I think like where I have that on that toggle right now, that's actually going to end up living in here. So I actually, because I have these methods available, I can basically initialize like the get user media, and then that will set up this media stream stuff. Let me see, that one I might actually have to, I'm gonna have to return this, this async method, because I'm guessing I'm actually gonna want to just return the stream, which does end up getting set to the state, but what do I need here for the join? Yeah, see, I need the media stream in order to then like add the tracks. So I think, yeah, you're picking up what I'm putting down, cursor. You got it. I think the idea is that I'll probably, assuming that I maybe like if I already have an existing media stream, I'm not sure when I would have this. It would just set that to stream. If not, it'll basically like initialize it, present the, can I have access to your microphone, all that kind of stuff. Once that resolves, it'll then return the stream here. This is actually interesting. I think we'll also, just thinking about this, the way that this thing works over here, this get user media, in the event that you actually change your like device ID, it like sets like the device ID state, and then it if you already have like a media stream, it basically like requests a new one because you have to pass in the device ID that you want to use for the stream instance. I'm gonna have to see what happens there. We might need to do some orchestration between when you change the audio device and then like the things that the tracks you end up adding to this peer connection. I'm not sure. Like removing old ones and then adding new ones, or just adding new ones from like the new media stream instance. I'm not 100% sure. But so yeah, so we're basically setting up this peer connection, which is just doing this and then adding some basic handlers and then setting that to a local. I think I was saying this earlier on the earlier stream. Right now, the socket is actually a ref, and I'm actually thinking that this peer connection might also should just maybe be a ref, and then the ones that come in are maybe also those. I actually think make sense to throw in a state, because essentially we're going to have to render for every like peer that you connect with it that you're like listening to, or every speaker who is speaking. Essentially they're going to have their own peer connection, and then we'll have to render an audio instance so that way you can hear everyone. And that makes sense to actually have it in like a state versus a ref. But I don't know, I guess we'll continue here. The place we're gonna I want to know what this offer thing looks like, because essentially I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to include this in the payload for when you join a room. So basically call this API endpoint, which I created on the last stream, but I am not doing anything with this offer, and also realized that the schema needs to be refactored a little bit to have this idea of a session, and then also be like a session member, which I think I might change that naming to. But the idea is that you can essentially join, you pass your offer, so that way we have it, because I'm pretty sure like this is like what you need in order for like other people to connect to your audio. Oh, and right now I'm not, basically all of these are making the assumption that like everyone's a speaker, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So like this whole thing may or may not actually have to happen. But yeah. So yeah, it's trying to figure it out. But I guess first and foremost, let's see what this offer thing is. So I'm gonna do some changes over to the room page to essentially provide two like states. And actually I realize an error in my way right here. Unfortunately, I think I have to throw this out here. Because it wasn't updating earlier, unless I so I need to figure out a better way to handle the hours. But essentially we need to have two states for this page, or at least for some of the stuff up in the header. So I think we have a hook here for it, yeah. So set up this yeah, there you go. We're gonna want the join room, and then we're also gonna want to get the room session, which I don't know if it's being shared via the state yet, or the provider. Huh. So yeah, essentially, this is then going to be if room session, and then we'll have our fragment with these two buttons here. Else, we're going to want to show a join button. Except I don't like doing the inline click handlers. I like to have my stuff up here. Join click. Let's go. Use skylounge. Skylounge. Oh, I see. There we go. And then, yeah, I don't know if we have join room and, well, we have join room. We don't have room session. Now we need to set up the skylounge room context. Oh, I know it's duh. So what else do we have being past join room? That is, oh, it's expecting a yeah, expecting an object with the room ID, and then it's also returning. It's returning anything now. It's not how join room is set up. What's going on? Oh, it's this thing. Doy. It's like it's right. It's just not right up there. Okay, cool. So I should then free up these so these are available. And we'll move this click handler to handle join click. Oh, how to get rid of the join? So right now, okay, yeah, it is getting the page props, so it will have the ID. Okay. There might be some other stuff I need to throw in here. And then I guess, yeah, I could put in a placeholder for leave room. And set that up in there since I know I'm going to have that at some point. But yeah, so yeah, I'm curious to see what this offer is right here. So let's get this all saved up, so she can do a save all just to make sure I have everything. I think we're logging it. Yeah. But yeah, so it's actually the format for this would be event, and then this would be within a data object. Okay. Guess let's see what we're getting. All right, so we have the join. Oh, I know. Yeah, we can't actually do this until it's been connected. So I think what I'll do is we'll just wrap this in a promise that gets returned. And then we'll resolve it. On the open. I'll remove my, I guess I'll still, so we'll await this. And then I think it should be set up in that time. Oh, I should take you over the code. So essentially, setup socket will be a promise. It will resolve. I guess it could resolve with the socket ref current. Might be kind of nice. But essentially, it sets it up, and then it shouldn't error out when I make that request, even though that offer socket thing is going to it's an event to nowhere. All right, but at least it didn't error there. And actually, I guess from like a networking perspective, we can probably go see the fact that it sent the offer up in the socket. I don't, again, I was saying that this on like the earlier stream. I actually don't think we're gonna have to do that. I think the offer is going to go through in the API payload and then essentially be associated to that session member instance. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see whether the WebSocket is like a more efficient way to get it out to people earlier, but I still want them to be like officially in the room and a member of the session before all the peer stuff goes up, because that way we can actually key everything off of like the room session member ID or something. because I feel like the socket stuff is going to be a little bit more like ephemeral and more for it's not really set up yet and it's hidden right now, but more for when there's going to be like chat and when people, getting notifications when like a guest joins or a speaker or a guest or a speaker's been added or someone leaves. Those kind of things to where, sorry, my amp was feedback. Yeah, all those kind of things that are going to happen. So the socket server is definitely, it's going to be used, but it's going to be used in like I don't know, maybe a little sparingly, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, is anyone working on anything cool? I figured I'd just throw a little thing on the chat. What are people jamming on? Share it up. Let me go see. I think I need to go check something on starter packs. Firehose might not be getting. Oh, it's getting stuff. Okay. All right, back to business. I just got a notification render saying that the server's unhealthy, but seems healthy enough to keep consuming the fire hose, so we'll roll with it. All right, let me see what's actually. So it looks like we have our. This looks like the offer. And then we also have all the events of the peer connection being set up. And then the socket was connected and sent the hello world message and got a response back. More ICE candidate things here. Let's see. So this ICE candidate, ICE connection state change. Do we see any of those? No, just ICE candidate. This is also one of those things where it's like, it's so long. It's like, is this really the right event name? I guess I could check it out. I can just like do the on it and see if it's the same. If I could type. ICE connection state change. Yeah, I think it looks right. So wordy. So I guess our peer connection is working okay. Now it's just a matter of being notified when other people join, and then I think we have like to initialize peer connections for each each person that joins. So that's where I think this room session thing is the thing, because essentially that's going to bring back, well, I'm going to have to update the API response, but essentially when you join, we'll get a session back. That session will have just like the general session information, but then it'll also have the members in that session currently. And then that way on this join, we can then kind of like negotiate all the peer connections for each one of the ones that are actually connected and are speakers. And then I guess at that point, we will have to have the socket stuff here, I guess. I don't know what it's going to do yet, but essentially there we'll have to also, and then also listen like when people either join or leave. Yeah. And then we'll probably also have to do like some sort of, I assume we'll also have to do some sort of unmount, like, yo, later, peace. We left, we're out. Or some sort of pinging or something to make sure that people are actually like still connected, still in the room. Some sort of pulse. I guess I would probably be kicked off here. And then maybe there's something on the server that's kind of just like occasionally check in to see if when's the last pulse came in and cleaning up members, or like auto leaving them in the event that a pulse hasn't made it through or something. I'm not sure. Or I'm overcomplicating it. I'm not sure. Oh, I don't even have I'll pull the tunes up if you're curious what songs are playing on the Spotify Jam if you're listening to it. I think I posted it over on Twitter for people who are there. It's just a comment on the post from for the stream. If you want to listen to some tunes. Yeah. But yeah, so basically I'm gonna uncomment that. We are gonna want to do this, but now I need to update the schema a little bit in order to do what we want to do. So we have the room, which has some basic information, and I think we're gonna have to add some more to it. I'm actually gonna change this to be room session ID, and that'll be associated to the room session. Oops. Oh yeah, it's trying to add this because it's got something on the room, but room's not going to have chats. And then I'm going to change this to room member, I guess. And that will be associated also to a room session. Yeah, there we go. I did add this earlier, this whole like session status. So the idea is that you either, it's like active, ended, or scheduled. I'm not sure if there's going to be archived. I don't know. I probably also should figure this out for the privacy as well. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there. Right now I have it as just like a string, but so we have the room session, and then we have room member. It's associated to the session. So I think this is gonna want to have or maybe not, I don't know, members? Chat? Actually, a single session should only have a single chat. So room session ID. Guess maybe. It should only ever be one, the way that I'm thinking about it. But not sure about this track. Yeah, chats, members. And actually members, yeah, they have a role. Denom, which would be a room member role. Yeah, it'll be a host, guest, or speaker. But at the same time, I want to figure out a way to like well, maybe that's actually just something that needs to be, that's not a room member, that's more of a I mean maybe it's a room member. Is it? I guess this would technically be oh wait, what did I just do? I mean technically this would be a room session member. And then I still think you could probably have a yeah, I don't think a room would have members. A session would have members of the room session member variety. I'm gonna have the host, which is just gonna be like kind of like the master admin like the main admin person on that. So do you think there could be like a room member? Hmm. Would not need that. Anonymous would not be a thing. That's more of a session member thing, maybe. Yeah, which it does have. It would have the account ID, the account associated with. It would also have the not the user ID, nor the session ID, but I'd have the room ID. In the room, basically, I think there should be a host. So maybe it's more moderator. All right, it's waiting for you. It's waiting for Stream Boo. The one commenter. I'll eventually hit my Twitch metrics if I can get enough bots chatting in the stream. So it'd be like an admin, a moderator, and like a just like a member, maybe. Yeah, this was commented out because actually it's gonna be the I guess we'll do the room session member. Maybe. I guess if you want to allow an anonymous person to comment or chat. Probably gonna wrap it up in the next like 10 minutes or so before it hits midnight, but just wanted to try to maybe get this and then the the join figured out. And then there you go, cursor. I will want to do the leave as well. Yeah, we'll address that. That should be session number, yeah. Which also means it needs to pull the session first. And this would be room session ID. So I should probably just add some date fields. Joined at, left at, maybe? This is where I just need to have everything actually just be like event sourced events, and then you can recreate this whole joined at, left at, maybe happen multiple times, whatever. Just a series of events. I have to talk to, see if Daniel wants to jump on another call. Maybe we can make verbs for JavaScript, verbs for Nest. Okay. Yes, the basic gist. And essentially here we would just update the session member. With the session, yeah, with the left at. So I think we can, if this is looking okay, we can at least generate our types. Oh, Prisma client, that's right. Ooh, one failed, room guest. Try to remember. Probably needs, see if that fixed it. Okay, cool. Didn't apply the migration yet, but at least the types are right. So host cannot leave the room. Sure it can. I mean actually that's something I probably actually should look for. So I should also close the session if the room member role is of host, I guess. So this dot I have to await this dot Prisma dot room session dot update where oops why are you auto completing that? No. No. No current session dot ID. And then also probably set ended at room session member role. No, I meant room session. Yeah, there we go. Guess that makes sense. Actually, that just made me think of something. No, this is good. I was just thinking like joined at, left at. Ended at, left at, yeah. And then I think there probably have to be some sort of we're not I guess I don't need to get into it right now, but the whole oh, I guess I could do the end too, huh? That actually might be a better thing. End room. So maybe I don't need to do this. Because end room's probably gonna do a whole bunch of stuff. It's gonna basically close out all the members, put it left at at that time, and then kick off some stuff. So yeah, that probably makes sense. There's the whole like requests to be a speaker and then, promote someone to speaker. And then I don't know if you can demote them from speaker, but we'll get into that API at another time. Actually, it wouldn't be. It'd be then you get the current session. And then if there wasn't a current session, then basically. You got the host of this room and then update it. I probably need to include that then. So yeah, we could do our end room thing. Then actually, current session, we would also then, get all the members. Actually, we'll just include the members. Right? And then we could just leave them. So yeah, that looks about right. Cool. All right, so the join, the one thing I don't have right now is we're getting that offer and it's in the data. So that's one thing I actually need to add to the room session member. Actually, I'm not sure what this URI is. What is that? So peer connection offer. Is that right? I'm actually gonna look and see what that thing even looked like. It's basically just Let me look at and see how that was even being used here in this example. Oh, so it's also associating with the peer ID. Which is the ID that's passed to it, which is called via create peer. which is a socket ID. Socket ID. I think I'm returning that, right? Set up socket, resolving with the socket. Yeah. All right, so if I get that socket, I guess maybe I delay all this until I've actually set up the socket connection. And I also pass the socket ID. ID does not exist on type WebSocket. Socket.on join. Oh, join is this is like a made up thing. I have room. Maybe this is slightly different in WS compared to Socket.io. But essentially, yeah, we don't get like an ID. I guess what this, let me just, what is on our socket? I guess the URL. But is that just the, yeah, just the URL of the WebSocket connection, so it's not unique. I mean, I guess really our unique identifier is the room session member ID. So maybe we don't maybe not need this. Probably don't need it. So if anything, we can move this up here. And we can also see what session we get back. And then I have to make sure I include the room session members in that response. User media. Okay. Yeah, technically you don't need to do this. Unless you didn't want to do the whole socket ref current thing, but it's fine. So actually we need to make those schema changes, commit them. So I guess I'll make the migration, migrate it. Let's just do a quick double check. Yeah. Let's see. It'll be fine. We're good. Okay. Cool. So does that mean we can actually do all this joining stuff? I guess. All right. So, although the one thing I'm not doing is so we're grabbing the session. Or we're creating the session. I'm not adding a member right now, which we probably need to do. So, I should create that with the host. And then I should also include members. And then I should also include members in there. And then that way we will get those there. I guess we could do a little early exit, like if not current session and room.host ID not equal to account ID. Yeah, you're not the host of this room. And then if you do get past that, essentially, I mean, at this point, this would be moot. Because we've already verified that. And then if for whatever reason, I mean, at that point, something's going to error. We're going to get to an error one way or the other. It's probably not going to be this. It's just going to throw on this. But yeah, so let's see, what are we working with here? Yeah, I think this will work. Let's try it out. What could go wrong? Close up a bunch of this stuff. Yeah, I feel like all this is It's amazing how many files this accumulate. Okay, so I guess if this all goes as planned, we should at least see the offer in the room session there and then get that set, and then we'll see the leave button. And I guess the view chat. And then I'm going to have to do the WebRTC stuff tomorrow as far as managing both the local and the ones for each of the members that are not the current user. I think that makes sense. So let's see. Oops. Okay. Let's refresh just to give it a little fresh start. Request failed. Bad response. Okay, let's see what we got. Room not found. Join room. Yeah. Probably would be better actually just to have it as the. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna leave the. Probably makes sense for the API to be a little bit more strict about this. But actually that would be number, and then we'll update the controller. Although should it be external ID? Probably. From like an API perspective, it probably makes sense for that to be that. And really the slug is the, we say slug, but it's really not slug. Just be the external ID. Oops. Although this, no, the get should be the slug. The join would be the external ID. Oops. Thought you were going to move down here, cursor. We'd also want to leave on the external ID. And end on the external ID. Yeah, something about that just, I don't know why it feels better to me, but a little less exposed for those more specific things, I guess. I don't know. Oh, still not doing anything with the oops. With the join. So I need to, when I create the session. So if not current session, oh, I need to add the new members. Do I? So if not current session, we'll do that. If account.id not equal to room.host ID, I guess. Yeah. That means I actually need to I was gonna say, I don't think you could do that. But I could do current session equal to wait this room session dot update, and then we create. Let's go here. And then the role would be guest. Is that right? And then we would also include members. I think that makes sense. So essentially, if it's not a current session, and the host, yeah, you're not the host of this room, so you can't start it. If you are the host, and there's not a current session, we create one and make you the first member. And then essentially, at this point, there should be a session available if you are not the host. So basically, room session not found, but if there is one, then we want to make you a guest. And I guess at some point I can, if this is like a scheduled session, we actually want to set it to like, this could actually maybe like auto trigger someone as a guest to a speaker, but for now we'll just keep it simple and the host will just have to make people a guest or a co-host or something. Okay, so let's see if that's going to do it. Quick little refresh. Async join room 500. What do we miss? What do we miss? Room not found at. Oh, did I not, did I update the external ID? No, I made it the room ID. There we go. Oh. All right, I'll get it right at some point. So yeah, so I was passing the room ID here still. It should be the external ID. And actually, I'm not sure about that whole external ID thing. Are you serious? What's the request it's making? That looks better. Do we not save all our stuff? So the external ID. We're still not grabbing. Oh, that's right. We're still not grabbing the data. I guess we need to do the data.offer. Okay. Let me go back to this area real quick. So it's saying the room is not found. Then we have the find unique. Room not found. Is that the only room not found instance? There's 3 of them. It says join, that's leave, and end. Okay. I gotta wrap this up soon, but I kind of want to just get a little closure for the night. And I guess on our schema, pretty sure we have a unique on that external ID, yeah. I guess I gotta check the database. EOU. Let's see. Where are we sending this thing? EOU. Oh, that did just think of something. This does need to have a then. I probably need to just actually move this to the client, but I don't think that's our problem. Let's see here. Yeah, let me just restart the I'm gonna restart the server real quick just to make sure everything, all the latest is there. You never know. Clear this too, just to async join 500. Oh, now it does actually have a real error. Reference error. Must call superconstructor in derived class before accessing this or returning from derived constructor. What got borked? Prisma client validation error. Actually, look, I mean, this is, I probably need to actually do JSON stringify here because that is definitely coming in as an object, I'm guessing. Now, what is it? Where is the this? JS. Sure what it's complaining about. I guess we can just try it again. Just keep hitting it until it works. It worked. Okay, so it was probably that the offer, the fact that it was a JSON object and it was trying to write into a string column. I mean, I could just make that a JSON column, but okay. So we have that, and what did we log here? So we have our offer, and we have our session, and we have our members, and we have a member who is a host, and I think that's pretty good. I could tempt fate and try to test the leave functionality, but I feel like we're good here. I will and we have our socket connecting after that, and yeah, I think we're good. Oh, and I guess we have the audio, and I can mute. I'm probably gonna have to figure out some sort of like either local state, like local storage thing to save like the mute status and potentially the last selected audio ID, so that way we can restore those when you connect back. But that's like minor stuff. So now it's really, we have ways for people to join a room. Now I just need to negotiate the peer connections for each of the members and essentially have it to where everyone is subscribing to other speakers. And then, yeah. All right. So we're close. So it looks like I have some more WebRTC stuff, but actually I probably need to get this published and then maybe set up a good test scenario to where I can kind of play around with the WebRTC stuff across maybe 2 different browser instances or something, or pull it up in like a simulator on my phone and just kind of see if there's any iOS issues or anything like that with what's going on here. But I'm gonna call it here. It's 12:36, and I don't know, feeling pretty good about what got done. I mean, it would be nice to have the peer connection stuff kind of ironed out, but I feel like we got all the ingredients really. It's just a matter of putting it together now. So yeah, um, yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Hopefully this is interesting. I guess I will look into this stream boo if I remove the space and use the code there. You know, thank you for the viewer suggestions. My one Twitch commenter.